Okay, I'll launch this one off this time.
Launch it off!
Okay, hey everybody! Brian and Thomas here for another episode of everyone's favorite React series, Thomas Reacts to Your Aquariums. Thomas, for those of you who haven't seen these videos before, he is our aquatics enthusiast and video host, much beloved. That's why people send in their photos to him to react to, give him tips, tricks, advice, and general praise. So that's what we're doing here today, another episode of Reacting. So all these photos, Thomas, you have not seen these before.
I have seen nothing.
Fresh.
This is all raw, true-to-life reactions from me.
Fantastic. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's jump right into another batch.
Sounds good, Brian.
Okay.
I don't know why I always do that.
Let's just roll with it.
Okay.
Next up, this one is from username MichelsPets.
Whoa.
She
cool.
says, this is my 37-gallon tank with angelfish and Bosemani rainbow fish.
Nice. I'm going to assume that that wood is a resin ornament and not actual driftwood. Even if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. That is a really, yeah, it's got to be. I think there's fake plants on it. That is a really cool piece of wood. Like, I love how it's kind of creating this neat little series of channels almost for the fish to kind of travel within and through. I like it against the white substrate that you've got there. It looks excellent. It's a very clean looking sandy type of substrate. It doesn't look super fine though, which is really important for cleaning. I personally, sand looks nice, but it is sometimes such a pain in the butt to clean. That doesn't look like it's going to be as fine and probably therefore easier to work with. So good choice. And I think we've got some live plants there in the background. I don't think, and maybe even on the behind the rocks there in the front of the tank. Like I said, I'm pretty sure some of the ones on the driftwood there are fake, but with the fake wood. But having some live plants in there is really kind of bolstering the whole look of the aquarium up even further. You know, we've got coverage of plants that goes all the way almost to the top of the tank. On the one side, like 2/3 of the tank, it looks like, is tall live plants, and then drops down on the other side. I think it's nicely composed and very pretty to look at. And the placement of the plants and the lighting is making, there's no background on that tank,
right? But
it's making it fade away because the light's in the forefront, lighting up everything that we can see that we're supposed to see. And then everything in the back is kind of just blended into the back, even though there's no black background on there. So I don't even have to make my black background suggestion.
Oh, thank goodness.
I can't even see it. I know there's a filter there, but I can't see it well enough for it to matter.
Nice work.
Awesome.
They have to send in a recovery team though
to get that thermometer. We were just talking in the last series about a thermometer that was right in the front.
Yeah.
It's almost right in the front.
Yeah,
the suction cup just gave up. That's what I think. The suction cup was just like, yeah, I can't do it.
Now, is this a reach the hand in and grab it, or is this a grab some tongs or a net?
Tongs wouldn't hurt. Look, if you don't want to touch the water.
I know you've said in the past, like, don't put your hands or arms in the aquarium if you don't have to.
Yeah,
100%. So maybe a nice little net would be. It doesn't matter. This is totally irrelevant.
Or get some aquascaping gloves or whatever, so that you're not getting your skin in there. Especially if you love hand cream or perfume and stuff, it's best to use something else.
But we digress.
Yes.
Very cool tank.
Awesome.
Regardless, very nice.
Great way to kick off this React video.
Yes. All right. So with that said, let's move on to the very next one. This one is from Farhan.
Haha.
Pretty basic photo he sent, not a whole lot of context. He said, pretty new at this, go easy on me. I've had them since they are 3 inches.
I'm going to go ahead and say you need a bigger tank, my friend. That'd be a lot of fish for that aquarium. I don't know if that's a tall tank or not, but the fact that I can see the silicone lines on both, like the back of the tank, right? So you know the pane of glass is between. Yeah. That's a lot of fish for that tank. Oscars are big, messy fish, and they only get bigger and bigger. That's a 100-watt heater in that tank, so that tank can't be big because that heater's not massive.
Right.
It's time for an upgrade. That said, wise choice keeping it basically devoid of any ornaments or anything in there. The fish need the space as they grow. Oscars are going to get very large, and having room to swim around and not displacing any of that water with potentially large rocks or heavy ornaments is a wise choice when you're growing them out in a small tank. But I have to keep saying that you need a bigger tank. You need a bigger tank. They're only going to grow bigger and faster and poop larger and messier. And
so what you're trying to say is that he should probably upgrade the tank size.
I think It's time for a bigger tank.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure we had that clear.
Your fish look great. Like,
they're very cool looking. You're
growing
nice.
them out very, like, they're doing well. They're healthy. Their fins look excellent. There doesn't seem to be aggression between them because there's no ripped fins or anything. I love the pattern on your tiger Oscar there in the front. Looks like a tiger Oscar.
Cool.
Yeah, it's as they grow, the pattern changes a lot. But it's really cool to see like that bronzy colored fish with the dark blotches, like the black blotches on top of the bronze, and then that fire orange striation and the tail spot, right? They've got a tail spot to mimic, having an eye on their butt so that predators don't know which end to bite.
Clever girl.
And then having a really nice albino as a contrast to that fish, like that pair, it's stunning. They're going to be excellent fish.
Yeah.
Bigger tank.
Bigger home, yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
They're great
Farhan.
looking Oscars.
Thank you so much. From Malaysia, no less. Thank you,
Yeah.
Farhan. Awesome. It's cool to know
Man,
that
we've got such crazy reach.
Yeah, it's awesome to know that.
The internet just blows my mind.
Oh,
Malaysia.
Yeah. So
And
thank you, Farhan. Much appreciated. This next one is from Eric.
Nice.
And he did send a nice little write-up if you'd like to hear it.
Absolutely.
I've only been in the hobby for 3 months, and this is my
What?
65-gallon. The filter is an AquaClear 110 with a sponge intake modification.
Nice.
Heater is a Fluval E300.
Nice.
Air pump, Tetra Whisper 60. And as for the fish, 15 Cories, 10 emeralds, and 5 albinos, 8 bloodfin tetras, 6 zebra danios, 3 bosemani, 3 Australian rainbow, 2 rainbow tetras, 2 rainbow sharks, 1 albino bristlenose pleco.
That's a hefty amount of fish. They're all babies. Very obviously, these are all very young fish. I'm really glad to see that it looks like you've got mostly fine substrate and especially sand there in the middle for those Cory cats, which is really what they need. Cories and sand should be just synonymous. They should always be together. They don't do as well on gravel. Sand is always the best option. I love the croc skull.
Yeah.
I love that it's you've got a couple of, I think those are like artificial bamboo type leaves, 2 extremely tall plants going all the way to the surface and then drooping around, creating this kind of alcove in the center of the tank, which you've then further created by having that line of stone with more plastic plants like fake chain swords or something going around there, and choosing even a different substrate that's encapsulated in that to really drive home that this is like a little nook, like
Just
a little
draws
cove.
your eye right into it too, yeah.
And then you've got that accented with a croc skull with streaming bubbles, which is really kind of just cool to look at. And then some, looks like wormwood of some kind or something like that. Artificial wormwood with some plants sticking through it as well. And then we've even got a cave on the opposite side there. Maybe you're hoping your plecos will one day utilize that for baby making, or just thought that they'd enjoy having a place to hide. Either way, I love that you've provided that space for them. I don't see any of the equipment really because of the large plastic plants you've chosen to use in the corner, which is excellent. I love it when you hide equipment in a tank because then the focus is not on the stuff, it's on the aquascape and the fish and everything. When that tank is, I would probably stop adding fish because once everything grows out and is getting some size, that's going to be a very healthy amount of fish for that tank. In fact, you may even need to step up the filtration in the future if you feed heavily and stuff. An AquaClear 110 for a hang-on is one of the largest capacity for media hang-on filters I can think of, so definitely a wise choice there. You can pack it full of biomedia and it's going to do a great job. Awesome. For 3 months in, your tank looks really cool. You've got a great selection of fish. I think for a community tank, you're going to be very happy with the results you get there.
Awesome, Eric. Thanks a lot for sending that in. Very cool tank. Next up, we have Giovanni C. Cool little
Is that a
time-lapse.
GIF?
Cool little
Oh, it's a
time-lapse.
time-lapse.
Yeah, it's a little time-lapse MP4 they sent us. So he's from Puerto Rico. He says
The reach. Anyways.
he says my 55 gallons. I can't escape from windows and sunlight here on the island.
Oh, that's okay.
But
You're
that's
doing a
his-
good job keeping sunlight to a minimum. Like on the actual tank, there's a window behind the tank, but there's a black background.
Yeah.
Right? It's got a full hood, it looks like, with a bunch of inserted LEDs. And the windows, which I can see reflected on the opposite side, are facing away from the tank.
Yeah.
So you picked a good spot. Even though it's literally in front of a window, that's probably the best spot you could have put it. I love it.
Yeah, no real details in terms of like what he's got stocked, but you can see pretty clearly.
Oh, so Okay, so this is one of those tanks where the emphasis is clearly on the activity in the tank, the fish and the movement. We've got a bunch of fish in there that are going to get a pretty decent size, like the bala sharks, for instance, are going to get, or rainbow sharks? No, bala sharks. Anyways, so the silver guys with the black lining on their fins and tails, they're going to get a pretty big size. Like 3 of them in a 55 is a ton. But who's to say you won't upgrade, or maybe you're going to just trade them in when they're too big for the tank. Who knows? Lots and lots of movement. The tiger barbs are great for that. They're going to stay out in the open. They get a decent size too. The gourami looks happy. We've got some live bears in there as well, maybe angelfish. It's a cool mix of fish that's going to have a lot of color and activity in that tank long term. All the ornaments and decorations in the tank are pretty subdued in color, right? The main color is obviously green and then earthy tones. So, you know, this isn't one of those over the top, just try to like make the tank look ridiculous and scream and be a lot of fun. With the ornaments, the focus is on the fish. And it's really cool, especially when you see that time lapse, how much movement there is in the tank, even with all that open space. So they're really utilizing that. And I think that looks fantastic. Also digging the black background.
Yeah. Well done, Giovanni.
And there's a thermometer on the side of the tank.
On the side, yeah. Good placement, Giovanni. I like it.
Awesome.
Very cool. Thanks so much for sending that in.
All the way from Puerto Rico?
All the way from Puerto Rico. Wow. Next up, James B. 22 from Ridgeland, South Carolina. 30-gallon planted.
Nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so you've got some low-lying hardscape followed by a lot of plant. So I think it's off to a fantastic start. You've got minimal, I can't really see much algae at all if there is any on the plants. So the plants seem to be doing well and are happy. Got all kinds of stuff in there. It's got some stem plants in there, maybe some Java fern it looks like. We've got some swords in there. It's packed with plants. Like as those plants grow and get taller and fill out the tank, it is going to be a jungle. Lots of small, fast-moving fish. We've got one of my favorites in there, black neon tetra I can see. Looks like we've got, I can't tell if that is a pleco on the back there. It might be a little gold bristlenose or something. We've got a pair of angels in there. The angels are probably going to get too big for that tank at some point. And you'll end up upgrading. But hey, that's just a part of the hobby. Upgrading is one of the most fun parts. When you're like, you know what I've done? I've outgrown this tank. Yeah. Honestly, canister filter, great to see. I find plant tanks, especially if you end up with a lot of leaf die-off like some people have recently. Yeah. That's me. Having a canister is a benefit because it can deal with a lot more debris a lot quicker than most hang-ons can. So having a canister on a plant tank is not a bad idea at all. And I see you got a heater in there. And is that a surface extractor? This guy here? I can't tell. It might be a surface extractor if it is. I love surface extractors. They keep the top of the water clean. Interesting choice to not have the water all the way to the top of the tank. I'm curious as to why you might have done that. So comment down below. Let me know why the water looks like almost an inch low. I've seen many people. Personally, I like rimless tanks because I like seeing the surface of the water, right? It kind of makes it very obvious that this is a body of water, not just a picture frame, right? But usually when you have a trimmed tank and stuff, you keep it all the way to the top. It looks like maybe just evaporation, but who knows?
Let us know.
Yeah. I see you're using a little bit of Flourish Excel there. Excellent. Awesome.
Cool.
I bet there's if this was a video of the tank, there'd be a ton of movement. Daniels don't stop moving. And it's important to have fast moving fish with angels because angels being predatory, like a cichlid essentially, is going to try every once in a while to go.
Cool. Thanks a lot, James. Appreciate this submission.
Black background.
That's like the theme.
Yeah, it just hides equipment, and most equipment's black, so it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Cool. We'll move on to someone with the username Maserati Gamer. First one is a 38-gallon community tank.
Okay.
That's the photo they sent. So it's you can't see a lot of it here, unfortunately. Like the bottom of it, it's obscured. But that's all they really
Very simple. A lot of ornaments. I love the fact that you've used, it's a tall tank and you've used some nice tall plastic plants to utilize some of that height. Interesting choice to have a marine background on a freshwater tank full of plants. We've got some live plants in there too, which is going to obviously help with nutrient export. They look healthy. I don't see a ton of algae on them or anything like that. The fake jellyfish is
nice touch.
An interesting choice as well. And the fish, first and foremost, look like they're doing well. Happy and healthy. None of them look
what you want, right?
overly skinny. Yeah, no, everybody looks like they're doing a good job. I think I see potentially that you're using a pothos for filtration. Up above the tank here, Bra Guy, there's a pothos, and I'm wondering if maybe you've also allowed that pothos to droop down into the tank to help utilize some of the nutrients in the system there, which is not a half bad idea if you ask me. I also like that your air pumps are above the tank. For those who don't know, if an air pump shuts off, you can't actually get water siphoning through the airline back down to the pump, so you need a check valve. A quick way around that is to put the pump above the tank. Then sans check valve is just fine.
Don't have to worry.
Yeah. So there's another one you said.
Yes, another one. It's
Let's see the other one
70,
as well.
70-gallon goldfish tank.
Very cool. And an interesting choice to have live plants with goldfish because goldfish are herbivores and they like to eat plants. So not a bad thing for them. Gives them something to snack on.
They're happy, yeah.
Yeah, it gives them something to snack on. Again, it looks like we might have some pothos there growing down in the tank, maybe even another type of plant there that's growing down into the water. So utilizing plants that don't need CO2 underwater in order to photosynthesize effectively and help remove nutrients. Excellent option. I love the floating plants as well. For some reason, floating plants and goldfish to me just go together really nicely. Not only because they eat them half the time, but because you always look down on a pond and you usually see lilies or topwater plants,
it's all part of the aesthetic.
Water lettuce, and then the goldfish moving underneath it. So it's almost like you get to see a side of the goldfish you wouldn't normally see in a pond. You get to see the topwater and the side view. So that's really nice. Interesting choice to have a magnetic dartboard right behind the tank. Hopefully you don't miss or they don't bounce off and end up in there. Goldfish are like, whoa, torpedo! It looks like you got an excellent amount of light on the tank too, suspended up there. LED, great choice. A little bit of driftwood. Yeah, the heater's pretty well hidden. The filtration's pretty well hidden. Nice open space. 2 small goldfish in a pretty large tank. They're obviously going to grow a lot over time, so this is a very responsible setup for them. It's not 2 small goldfish in a tiny tank. They've got lots of space to grow right now and to keep going. So I'm really glad to see that. A lot of people put goldfish in tanks not realizing that they get massive.
Right.
So awesome. Good work.
What is this little
Coca-Cola
thing in there? Could you, any clue what that could be?
I'm thinking that's above or behind the tank, maybe.
I don't know. It seems because you can see the reflection of it in the water.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Let us know
in the comments.
Yeah, I'm just purely curious about what that is. It looks like it's actually in the water. And I don't know. Anyway,
I think it's cool that they also have like lengths of driftwood and stuff around the rim of the tank.
Yeah.
Kind of like decorating the trim of the tank,
Sure.
not just the interior.
Why not?
Digging it.
I can dig it. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks so much for sending that in. Next up is Jordyn H. Let's see what he sent us a photo, I believe, and a video. So this is Jordyn H. Let me read his. Looks
like he's using Eco-Complete, maybe.
I'm fairly new to the hobby. Started out with you love Eheim. I'm fairly new to the hobby. Started out with completely fake aquarium decorations. I started getting into scaping earlier this year, and I'm still learning. Started getting into the hobby last year, and I hope I'm doing well with everything. Hope you like my aquariums. Oh, so he has 2. So the video is a different aquarium. So we'll look at this one first.
Off to a great start. I love that you've got some nice stem plants in the background. I can see that a whole lot of foliage on some of the stem plants is gone, which is not the end of the world. Stem plants are notorious for this, especially in lower light setups. If they're not getting a lot of light to the bottom leaves, they will just fall off. You may have also just gotten these as trimmings from somebody else's tank and they didn't have a ton of leaves to begin with. It looks like maybe some, I don't know if that's Bacopa or Ludwigia or something like that, maybe some Hygrophila, and looks like some sort of Rotala perhaps for the background. when they start growing in, and what you'll probably end up doing is as they grow taller, you'll cut the sections off at the top, trim them down so that you have nice long sections of leaves, and then stop a couple nodes on the stem below where the heaviest root growth is, and then replant them down at the bottom and let them grow back up. Stem plants are really easy to kind of trim and rework into the setup. Even if they've lost a bunch of leaves, it's never really the end for them. You just kind of give them some time and rework them into it, and you're going to have a lush background of really pretty plants. The cryptocorin looks pretty happy. Nice browning in the leaves. I love cryptocorins for that. They have a texture to the leaf and brown that you don't really see in many other plants. So that's really cool. I like that you've got some plants in the front that you're going to try, it looks like, to do a carpet with. I don't know if that's a chain sword or what. It's got a little bit of interesting growth here and there. And I love the stone you chose for the center of the tank.
Very cool.
Looks really, really,
with
really
like these
nice.
lines and everything going through.
Yeah,
it's really neat.
It's got texture, but at the same time, it's smooth and gray. So the plants are going to be the focus, and then it's kind of the thing that the plants are growing around, just to add some texture and interest other than the plants, which looks great. The platies all look happy, and I see a mystery snail there. I think it's a mystery snail. I could be wrong. But everything looks great. I love your use of Eheim filtration. I am a massive fan of Eheim. I love the 3/4 black background.
didn't want to commit fully to it, you know what I mean?
No, I'm just not 100% sure if I wanted to go with a black background, so I just held it up a bit. No, it looks good. I think the black background's a great choice. Unfortunately, Eheim likes to use their Eheim green, which is the telltale sign, for their hardware or intake and outtake stuff. So they don't hide very easily until it's absolutely loaded with plants, which is going to happen. You're going to have a background full of plants. So at some point, you won't see any of that. Excellent work.
Very cool. So that's tank number 1. Let's see what the video he sent in is. Okay. Oh, I see. Cool. Interesting, Jordyn H. Very cool. All right, let's have another quick look. Let's freeze frame this guy here.
Okay, so a nice beta tank. Super simple. Some like terracotta looking tubes just to add some interest and something for the beta to do. Got a digital thermometer in there at the side of the tank.
Yeah, same with the last one. I think,
these are a little bulky, so having them even at the side that you can still see a lot of it. Airstone for lots of extra circulation, a heater, great little beta setup, tons of room for that beta. And because it's so simple, the beta stands out like crazy. Beautiful, beautiful beta, by the way.
Very cool. Let's transition over to the other guy.
So this is interesting because we've got a couple betas in there, maybe even 3. And they seem to be getting along so far, or are they all females perhaps? They look like males to me, but I could be wrong. There are some really attractive females you can find. And those look like either some sort of platy or mosquito fish. I want to say platy because, no, they're probably mosquito fish. Just because they have that like Mickey Mouse pattern on their butt, on their tail.
Oh, yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse platies.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
But they do look a lot like mosquito fish. And this one, obviously, the thermometer is facing outwards on the front of the tank. I love the stone in the center, very similar to the stone in the other tank, but sitting upright with the plants around it. Again, great use of a cryptocorin in one side there. We've got some swords and then some taller, maybe it's a hygrophilia or something in the back there. Really nice. I'm a little concerned about the amount of betas in that tank, but if they're getting along right now and things are going good and you don't notice too much aggression and it doesn't progress at all and they stays that way, then c'est la vie, that's all right. But if you start to get aggression, you may need to separate. Beyond that, I like what you got going on.
Very cool, Jordyn. Thank you so much. Very cool tanks. I think we're gonna call it a day at this one. We're running out of racetrack yet again, as we always seem to do far too early.
That racetrack often dies early.
But we had a lot of fun. Very cool tanks. Again, just a huge variety of tanks.
It's really interesting to see how different people's aquariums are.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one like steadfast way to keep an aquarium or what to put it in or how to scape it or decorate. It's just a crazy rainbow of different styles, and it's really cool to see what people do.
They're different tastes, you know, like their subjective tastes. It's really, really neat. So thank you guys so much for sending in these photos. For anyone watching who would love to have their aquarium given tips, tricks, advice, and praise from our aquatics enthusiast and video host here, make sure you send them in to us. You can send them to the email address listed in the description below. they'll go right to me, and then I can show them to this big log.
I don't want to
here.
see them first.
No, he doesn't see them
I just
first.
want to see them the day that we're doing the video.
That's right. So they go right to me, and then I'll be able to get them all ready for this guy to have a look at. So make sure you do that. Also, we want to make sure you sub. Why do people want to sub? Why?
People want to sub because we have a ton of really cool content coming out on a regular basis, plus tons of videos already posted. Yeah. Things like how-tos, beginner videos, top 10 anything, habits, how to get rid of algae, all kinds of stuff, and builds. We have some really cool builds. And ultimately, if you don't sub and you don't hit that little notifications button, you won't know when we post that stuff.
How are you going to know?
Yeah, and we'd love to have you on board.
Yeah. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all our subs who support us and sent these photos in. We really, really do appreciate it. And with all that said, make sure if you subbed up and you like all our stuff, make sure you follow us on social if you like, Facebook, Instagram, that kind of thing. And I guess nothing left to be said except...
keep on tanking.